Alright, we're on the, what?
I was just
We're on the client rights section. Like I say, they have more rights than we do. Period. Sucks, that's just the way it is. So, have y'all ever read the client rights section in the handbook? Have y'all? Josh?
What?
Read the client rights section in their handbook?
No. I haven't.
It's like 2 pages long. Knowing what their rights are helps you make sure you don't violate them. They could sue us over any of this stuff, and that would probably be really, really bad. Like I said, they have more rights than we do. So I'm going to cover them. I'm going to talk really fast because there's so many of them. But they have to have privacy, toileting, bathing, personal hygiene activities, unless we have a clinical reason why they can't be alone. They're high risk for suicide, and if they were, they wouldn't be at this level of care anyway, or in the facility. I make that 3 pages of those. Searching living areas and personal possessions are only conducted when it's documented that the directors think it's necessary for safety and security of client, staff, and or the environment. Says per search procedures, clients and a witness must be present during any search unless there's documentation as to why they couldn't be present. And if they're not present, they're going to be notified that we searched through their stuff. Says you're supposed to be alerted prior to staff entering your personal living space, so that means you need to knock before you go in to their room. Says written consent must be given before photographs are taken by staff, with the photograph being deleted at discharge. Confidentiality. We can't repeat that they're here, give out any information about them whatsoever. We can't confirm or deny anything unless we know they've signed a release of information for us to speak with that particular person. We believe that they're going to hurt themselves or someone else. We believe that they are neglecting, abusing children, elderly, or adults with disabilities. We have received a court order to release information. They are suspected of committing a crime on the premises or against staff or other residents. They have a contagious and life-threatening illness and are potentially infecting others. They have a medical or psychiatric emergency, or we are being audited by the state. The state gets to come in and see all their information. Or if we're discussing between staff about a person. Every other exception, we cannot say a word. They have rights to know who has primary responsibility for their treatment and clinical care, which would be me. My name's on that handbook. To receive services in a manner that's respectful of their strengths, needs, abilities, and preferences, including language. They have a right to help out in the development of their treatment plan, working on things they want to work on, not things that I want them to work on. They have a right to have an adequate number of competent, qualified, and experienced professional clinical staff. That would be all. To ensure implementation of their treatment plan. They have a right to the provision of care with accepted clinical practice standards, least not super restrictive, and appropriate setting, safe and humane environment. They have a right to be educated about the downside of coming to treatment and getting sober. They have a right to express preference regarding service providers. They don't have to come here, they can go anywhere they want to. Obviously, they can't be abused, neglected, or mistreated. And we already covered that. They have a right to report to file a complaint, basically, without having to worry about getting in trouble. To provide input into how we do things around here, to access information in their medical record, provided that it's approved by director. To know how much everything's going to cost, to have privacy of their mail and telephone and visitors, to access their court or legal proceedings, to be informed of their commitment status. They can't be here and the judge said they got to be here for a year without knowing. We can't keep that from them, how long they have to be here. To leave, if they want to leave, we can't force them to stay here. We can't tie them up or drug them for fun, punishment, or our convenience, although I'm sure some of them y'all would like to. To have a decent food or diet around here, to receive medical and dental care, to be able to take their prescribed medications, to worship like they want to worship, to agree if we're going to do a research project or something like that, they have to consent or sign to be a part of it. to exercise their rights as a citizen of the United States, to choose to live, work, be educated, and recreate with people that don't have disabilities. In other words, people outside of the facility, I guess. To be presumed competent until a court says they're not, although we may have a different opinion. To vote, to own and buy real estate, to make contracts, to have a driver's license, to not be placed in solitary confinement, unless it's just because it's convenient. We got to have a good reason. They can have rights to marry and divorce, to be compensated for the value of work that they do, to be treated respectfully and with dignity. They have a right to have a decent, comfortable environment, including their sleeping areas, bathroom facilities, living rooms, dining facilities, doing their laundry, furnishings in good repair, the ability to smoke, decent room decor, time for leisure, recreational activities, consistent housekeeping and maintenance so that their environment is safe and clean, to be able to go outdoors. Those are all of their rights in short form. There's phone numbers everywhere. If they got a complaint, encourage them to just call or fill out a written complaint if they want to. Questions about client rights?